we're digital painting with the iPad today and doing a Q&A. I thought that would be fun. I posted on the community page. If you didn't see the post, you gotta hit the bell to get notified with all the stuff because I post there a lot. We got 200 questions, which is great. I'm using my iPad 2017 model. A lot of people ask. It's not the newest by any means, but it does the job. I'm using Procreate, which is the great drawing app, and we're gonna be digitizing this painting, boom, because I'm making merch. At the end of May, I'm dropping this huge merch collection I've been working on for so long. I'm putting all my old characters on to merchandise, very cool designs. I'm super amped. So this is a spoiler. You'll know that this one will be on. The rest is a surprise. I'm super excited. But this is a beautiful photo in itself that I took, and I guess I could scan it, Photoshop, and then put that. But I like to digitally recreate these, basically tracing, tweaking little things, because then I could have that digital file, which I know is perfect. It's clean with the lines, a high res, large file. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's also fun. I also am gonna answer some questions. So we're gonna dive right in. First question we got is Liam Carey. Sometimes when starting a big piece such as a mural, are you intimidated at first by it? The answer is I used to be, and I guess there's kind of like this feeling of intimidation and excitement for everything you start, but how I work now is extremely strategized and I prepare a lot. So going into murals, I don't do many murals often, I do, or even big paintings, I'm extremely prepared and I've strategized and I've done renditions and I've, figured out what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna do it. And so actually when starting, like the skull mural I did recently, I'm really excited, and it's a nervous excitement, but it's like, okay, I've prepared, I've studied, I've done my homework, so let's begin and let's have a blast. So that's kind of how I feel. But I definitely, really big murals, which I, don't do anymore. But when I was starting out, I was definitely anxious about it. So I'm gonna start outlining this. Aliana Riviera, where does SLEW come from? I've answered that so much and it's not super exciting, but my name is Sam Lewis. And if you go Slewis and then SLEW, that's kind of like the evolution of my name right there. This is kind of difficult talking and focusing, honestly. See that freezing? That freezes sometimes. Maybe I should get a new iPad. But yeah, so that's the name, SLEW, Sam Lewis, Lewis. That's the evolution. But my friends started calling me that in high school, and then it stuck. And then I kind of started writing graffiti with it. And so that's the story. Ooh, I'm gonna botch this name. Femk White? I don't know. I have no idea. How did you first start selling art without exploiting yourself, getting underpaid, essentially? Well, the truth is that I've only recently started selling paintings and stuff like that, and I certainly did get underpaid a lot of the time, or I thought that the only way people would want to buy my work was if I did a really low price or in general just undervalued myself. And I think I still am struggling with that and trying to figure out what works for me in terms of value and how do you place value on different painting projects and things like that. So it definitely happened to me. Not as much. I'm more confident with my prices, and I'm also not reaching out to everyone to buy stuff. I have people reach out to me, which is a different experience for sure than what I'm used to. So that's all new, but it's just something you got to go through. If you think you're never going to make a mistake selling artwork or undervalue yourself in a couple situations, and that's just not a realistic thing, it almost helps. You almost want to get those situations out of the way because they are inevitable, and then you'll learn from them immediately, and it hopefully won't happen again. So that's how I kind of feel about it. So I'm just trying to finish this outline real quick before we go to the next question. Because it's kind of hard, honestly, to focus and talk at the same time. And so a great thing about digitizing, what I'm doing right now, is I'm really tweaking the character a lot. I have it a layer under it, so I'm just tracing it right now. And I know it's going to be very similar, almost identical, but some of the shapes I'm tweaking, I'm making softer. I'm probably going to mess around with the shading of the color, messing around with the outline. So that's just really fun and why I like to digitize old paintings, especially epic ones that I love, instead of just, scanning them in from a photograph. So this whole process is super fun to me, and it's extremely tedious. I kind of go really overboard with it a lot. And also simplifying the shapes. This is a super complex painting with a lot going on, and so I don't need nor want all the complexity, in my opinion. So I'm really going to take out a lot of it. But other than that, copying it pretty much exactly. Kyra Renee asks, what inspires you to keep creating when you're mentally blocked? So again, I've talked about this before, and I definitely experience creative block, but it's I think it's different than other people, because now my whole art career and job and hobby and passion, it's all kind of in one boat now. And within that boat, there's several fingers and avenues. Like I edit full time. I do 30 hours of editing a week. I film videos, so I'm a videographer. I do traditional oil painting. I do, stencil projects. I do watercolor. I do so many different things that I have my fingers in so much. So if I kind of balance them all together, then I never really get bored, and I never feel creatively, blocked up, or what's another cool word to say that, creatively. And if you're talking specifically like what I like to do in the different mediums, what I like to paint in watercolor, or what I like to paint with oil paint, that's just personal preference, and I have what I like. And I have a pretty strong passion to improve with traditional oil painting. So when I want to oil paint, I'm going to do portraits, or I'm going to work on studying and getting better at some perspective or values or something like that. Or stencil projects, I have my world of characters, so I love to work on new characters or design new characters or make new characters better. So that's for me like a whole lot of time, and it's like a whole bunch of different stuff. So I never really get bored. Look at that. Boom. There's a nice little trick for you. So if that answers it, that's like very me specific. Here's a cool question. I'm trying to find questions that I haven't really answered before. I've done 3 other Q&As, by the way. If you want to check those out, I answer a lot of questions that maybe you've asked. I don't know. The value of cashmere. Do you have a dream project that you have not been able to do for whatever reason? If yes, then what is it? Great question. I have so many. That's like one of the things as an artist, or as me wanting to be ambitious. I have ideas so much that come and go, and just so many different things, and usually they don't really last, or I forget about it. But the ones that I think about and that like will be in my head for months, or reoccurring kind of things, that's when I know it's like a good idea and I should try to do it. I mean, another thing that I think I'm good at, I'm ambitious, but I'm also realistic about the plausibility of, completing it or executing a project. Most ambitious project I did was probably the SLEW. You should go check out those videos. It's a 3-part series, and then I did a short film. But, I got this opportunity to do this incredible project, and I really pushed the boundaries of not only the scale in terms of filming and making a short film and how I filmed it, and even like the illustrations and all the artwork. It was really challenging for me in terms of size, but also the conception and pushing myself to do something out of the box. That was a huge challenge for me, and it was also a dream project, and I did it, and it felt great. But I have a few projects. A lot of them are similar to these kind of characters that I have ideas or series of paintings that I want to do, and I think it's a really cool concept. It's just about kind of doing it, but I'm so busy that it's hard to start. And once I kind of start a project that's really big, a lot of these ideas are like 3 huge paintings that, it takes a while, and then I won't be able to stop, and it'll kind of like hinder me from doing other things like editing videos and blah, blah, blah. So it's just right time and right place. But yes, I have a whole bunch of ideas. We're rocking and rolling, and I'm scrolling through looking for more comments. A lot of them are the same. Again, go watch the other question and answer videos talking about artistic style, art school, all that stuff. Outside of Francisco's SB, outside of art videos, what other videos do you watch on YouTube? Oh, wow. Disgusting amount. I watch so much YouTube. I don't watch Netflix like at all, and I don't watch like I do watch TV series, but not many recently. I just watch an insane amount of YouTube, a lot of art videos, every painting video ever, but also like David Dobrik stuff, vlog people. I watch like carpentry videos. I watch a little of everything. I watch like car videos. I watch technology. I watch a lot of the big YouTubers, and I stay in the loop kind of with all of the big celebrity YouTubers because I kind of like that stuff, but also minute, crazy people, science videos, Smarter Every Day, Veritasium. I watch a crap load of podcasts, Joe Rogan, all the comedians, Bobby Lee, stuff like that. I seem to not be able to draw while I'm talking, but yeah. So I watch a whole bunch of stuff, and it's all kind of crazy, and but it's all fun. Here's a good one. Jane Blog. What is your honest opinion on modern art, gallery art, for instance, abstract pieces? Do you feel annoyed that they sell for more than exterior visual value? Well, the thing about value in paintings, I read this great quote before. A painting, or anything for that matter, is as valuable as someone is willing to pay. You know what I mean? So you might not be willing to pay $100,000 for someone splattering paint on a canvas, but someone might. It might mean something different to somebody. The importance, the value, the concept, the idea may be impactful, or just the market says that it's that expensive, and then people will buy it. So do I get annoyed? Not really, because I don't know. I'm not doing that. I get annoyed when people, I don't know. I mean, this is a very like egotistical thing. Say they're artists, or they just like, they do a bunch of paintings for 10 minutes and then, try to sell them and claim they're an artist. And I don't know. I would never knock anyone for doing anything creative at all. But like when people try to pretend, or like, try to cut corners and stuff like that, I don't like it. And also a conversation perhaps that could be started is the word art. I'm an artist. You're an art. Like, it's the most, not played out, but it's like just such a huge generic word. What does like being an artist even mean? You're singing, you're dancing. Is like picking up a pencil and putting it down. Being art, like, is drawing in the sand. Being an artist is so. And that's all fine. I'm not saying you're not if you do any of those things. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It could be kind of put into any category ever, doing anything, breathing, making noises from, your leg. I don't know. I'm really, this is a tangent. But so what I like to say, or introduce myself, or like to put myself in a category, I like to be specific and give context. So I'm a fine artist. I paint with oil paint naturalistically, or I do street art styled murals, and I have a bunch of fantastical characters that I make with stencils, and I draw digitally, and then I recreate them in different colors. And so, but you're an artist. Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, that's kind of guaranteed. But so being specific about what you're making, artist, creator, I just like evidence, and like, kind of talking about what you're actually doing. I don't know where this started or what the original question is. I apologize. Oh, talking about random stuff. All right, moving on. Young Travo, did you play any sports? Yes, I went to a private boarding school where you're kind of forced to do sports every season. So I played soccer in the fall. Love soccer. Played soccer all my life in school. Not in college, but like in high school and lower school. I played squash in the winter, which is like, a lot of people don't know what squash is, because it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like a weird northeastern U.S. thing. And then in the fall, I would do baseball and other stuff. So I played sports my whole life until I got to college, really. But I love sports, and I love playing with my friends and being active. I don't do it much at all. Don't do any sports, which is sad, but it's all very fun, and I did it a lot. But yeah, that's pretty much. So we're rocking and rolling. We got some layers. You can see here, that's how I work digitally. and how you should work with layers so you can move everything. This isn't a tutorial. Maybe one day I'll do a digital painting tutorial. But next question, Nick Kestler, do you ever step away from art for a certain amount of time between projects just for a break? On a micro scale, yeah, I'll take like a day off, or I'll complete a bunch of stages, and then kind of stop and maybe work on a quick other project. But I don't like oil painting or stencil projects or like a watercolor or even like videos that I edit. Once I start, I'm pretty much not going to start something else until I finish it. So I kind of focus completely on it. I'll work on 2 projects at the same time, sometimes 3, but they won't go on for more than a week. And by the end of that week, or by the end of that, 10 days or whatever, the whole project will be completed. Both of them will be done. And so, yeah, like I'll never start an oil painting, stop, and then do more paintings and forget about it for months and then go back. I never really work like that. I never really have. That's just me. And so, yeah, that's the answer. Here's a great question. Artin Rustemi, what was the real early influence that got you into the wonders of the artistic world, man? Much love, much love. I know that exactly, and it's graffiti and like street art, and I lived in a suburban town. Wasn't really exposed to like hardcore graffiti and like New York City, even though I was pretty close to New York City and I would see it. I just got into like the idea of spray painting through videos on YouTube, and then a lot of people were posting them. And I just really loved it, and I got spray paint and started, trying my own stuff out, not like in a crew or anything seriously in graffiti, just having fun by myself. And I was really just enamored with, more specifically, street art characters and graffiti characters, and like the b-boys and the wacky aliens or just, cool things like that. I was just really into it, and it was one of those things where it's like, all right, am I going to try it? Like, I've been so into it for so long, and like I just really like it. And then it was just me getting spray paint. My mom gave me some spray paint, or let me get some at Home Depot, and I tried it for myself and just kept doing it, kept being into it, and that really evolved. But it was all from YouTube. I think a lot of kids in any discipline of arts or creativity or any kind of discovery of something they're into, people a lot of times find it on YouTube because it's like a resource that has unlimited content. Nowadays, when I was younger, it wasn't as much, still a lot. But nowadays, you can find anything about anything on YouTube. So you just got to look for it. But then the big issue is actually going ahead and doing it, or trying it, or, experiencing that. By the way, I don't know if I'm going to finish this on the Q&A. We'll hopefully get as far as I get, and then I'll give you the time lapse. But, we're going to have to eventually wrap this question and answer up. And then this probably won't be done because it's going to take a lot of tweaking. But I'll show you the final product. But we're going to move on to this question. Schmedden. What's the best thing? What excites you about making art? Great question, and I've said this again in other question and answer videos, but the idea of there's unlimited things to make. So for example, this character I'm making, this character has never existed ever before until I made it. And that's not like an ego thing. I guess you could say it is, but it's like that idea, that concept of never ever exactly drawn this way with these exact colors arranged in this exact way on that exact painting. The uniqueness to that I love, and the ability to do that infinitely, to make infinitely unique things that no one's ever seen or done, and just that scale, that ideal of kind of creation that's very deep and meta. But it's the same thing like if there was a big snowfall. This is a funny thing I remember as a kid. If there was a big snowfall and it's a fresh thing of snow on the ground, and then you put a footprint in, and you're like, wow, no one's ever stepped here ever before. And like the uniqueness of that's a big general kind of motif within creative endeavors, but it's also more kind of a realistic kind of contextual thing is getting better. Like, this excites me because I executed this, but also with like oil painting, like getting better, speaking that language, being able to problem solve and replicate things that you see from observation. Like it's a real practice, and it's like a never-ending practice because you could always improve, always get better. And so that excites me a lot. And I want to, self-improvement and seeing yourself improve is like extremely addicting, I think. And it really gets me going. And I want to strive to be better, to make more successful things, and to be able to speak kind of that language better, if you know what I mean. So that's a rant. Where's the merch? Good question. I'm working on it right now. I've been working on it for a while. It's going to be a bunch of hoodies, t-shirts, all my painting designs, some new stuff. I've been working on it a really long time. I'm super amped. End of May, I hope it will be out. I got to get the samples. I got to set it all up. End of May is the goal. Taylor Chora, have you ever worked with a gallery before, and do you have advice for someone looking to get into galleries? I actually have never had a gallery show. I've had like little group shows with students and things like that, but as like a professional full-time artist now, I haven't been in a gallery. Before the coronavirus, several galleries were emailing me, asking for meetings, asking for me to apply, and I have a kind of pretty strong view on this, and especially now that I'm doing the YouTube thing and I'm like a social media influencer, I think that galleries are kind of like an old school idea. And the point of making artwork is to show people, and like a gallery is that, it displays work. So the kind of simple idea of a gallery is quite normal and understandable, but like the whole culture and them taking so much money, and I mean, they're providing a service. But so for me, if I wanted to display my work, which I'm trying to, all these paintings, I have a bunch of originals, a series I've been working on to try to show in a gallery. It's going to be on my own, I think, independently, and I'm going to rent a space, something like that, to put to my own show together. So there's no rules, there's no one telling me what to do. And again, that's not a bad thing. I'm not knocking galleries. And if a super well-known gallery asked me to have a show, a well-known, of course I'd probably say yes, because of the level of profession they're in, and like the legitimacy, and perhaps the the novel idea of like exposure, and so having your name with a gallery kind of legitimizes you, whatever. That's all real, and I'm sure I'd do that. But like my dream would probably be to put my own show together, not through a gallery. I don't know. I have no experience. That's just my view, ranting alone at night in my studio, my back. Rocking and rolling. I've seen a lot of like, who's your favorite artist? Who do you look up to in the art world? There's so many, especially with Instagram. You could follow so many people. I'm just gonna kind of finish this Q&A by just talking about my favorite artists. Who knows if this will be 5 minutes or 1 minute, but and I'll give each of the categories. So I guess we'll start with like contemporary. I think James Jean is my favorite. If you don't know who James Jean is, I'm sure you do. He's amazing. Probably one of the best. He's an amazing academically studied artist, draftsman, but he does these huge canvases with these girl characters and just flowers and amazing colors. And he's probably in terms of selling his work and famousness, but also the quality of work, he's probably at the top 2, top 3 artists in that realm. Also, just the style of what he makes is just something that I love so much. Another person similar in that category of contemporary art is Cause. And I love like old school graffiti heads who become super awesome studio artists and make amazing work. There's a lot of them, and that's not just why I like it, but Cause did do like graffiti stuff, and he, a lot of people know Cause, all the crazy characters, but he also does amazing paintings, and he has awesome discipline, and just love his style, and like how he kind of moved into like sculptures and stuff, and I think that's just super rad, and I just really dig him. So those are like contemporary artists. And then sort of, I guess we could go to like street art and or graffiti. Oh gosh, there's so many. Rhyme from MSK, Rime. He's a graffiti writer. A lot of the guys from MSK are amazing. Also, oh my gosh, how am I blanking on his name? His name is Jordan Nickel. Pose. POSE from MSK. I actually went to Rhyme's studio in Brooklyn. He invited me. I DM'd him on Instagram. I was like, I'll drop out of school if you hire me, or like I'll clean, I'll do whatever you want. I just want to like be surrounded. And he was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that, but you can come check out the studio. And we talked for like 4 hours. It was cool. Also, like Soffles, he's an unbelievable graffiti artist in general. You know, I don't like to give labels because a lot of the graffiti heads who do graffiti are also just unbelievable illustrators. So, yeah, that's graffiti. Sorry, I'm trying to focus. There's so many other graffiti writers also that are amazing. Does, Does. I think he's German. I don't really know, but he's just incredible. There's so many. Like, graffiti artists are so slept on in terms of just craftsmanship of anything. Just because they write letters, you know, people kind of just are like, oh, he does graffiti. But a lot of them can run circles and, like, against a lot of, like, artists who consider themselves painters or illustrators, you know, so I love those guys and they're amazing. And then kind of the other category, I guess I would say, would be like traditional oil painting or like just illustrators. James Gurney on YouTube, who is just unbelievable. He's like the godfather of illustrations. He has textbooks that people use. He makes amazing videos. Who else? Scott Fisher. He does awesome, like Magic the Gathering styled fantasy characters. I love that kind of work, and he's just an amazing illustrator and cool work. He uses like acrylic ink. I don't know, pretty wacky, pretty cool. Who else is in that kind of realm of illustrator, traditional? Oil painters, living. Andrew Tischler, Cesar Santos. Also, Jennifer Gennari, who paints a lot of animals. She, I think, has the most beautiful not lifelike, but alive paintings of animals. Jennifer Gennari. And so, yeah, those are a bunch of people. I mean, the list is endless, honestly. And I had to, like, unfollow a bunch of people on Instagram because it was just getting out of hand. And, like, you could just go into a hole of absorbing people's work, which isn't a bad thing. But I had to really kind of give it a break. And so, yeah, and I just love it. And it's so cool. And it's so... Also, like, if you ever go to a museum, I don't know if this happens to other people, but, like, when I go to museums, if it's a show or even, like, the Met, like, an old school museum, I get so overwhelmed and at first I get bogged down. I'm like, oh my gosh, people are so amazing. Like, I'm not even close, like, just very, you know, comparing myself, all that stupid stuff you do subconsciously. But then it's also just, like, awe and appreciation. And then back to the thing I was saying, if you listened before, about, like, unlimited things to paint, you know, universal, just, like, the amount of different content or ways to paint. Like, if there was only one thing you could paint, the amount of different ways people would come up to paint it or draw it or, you know, represent it. It's just endless. So I always feel like that. And it's the same thing when scrolling through Instagram. We're in the midst of a rant, people. When you scroll through Instagram, you just see so much stuff on that different artists make, and it's so, like, I have all of those similar feelings, and sometimes it's great, but sometimes it's too much. I get overwhelmed, and it's just like, there's so much stuff, like, whether it's really cool or it's not cool at all, I don't know, you know, it's just like a crazy influx of work and analyzing and absorbing, and sometimes, I don't know, it's too much. And you know what's too much? I think me talking. And we're going to probably end it. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Thanks to everyone who commented. I mean, people commented while we were doing this. I've only been drawing for maybe an hour or less. What does it say? Yeah, an hour. And my back hurts, and I got to go home. It's late at night. I think it's 10 o'clock. It's not that late. But merch coming soon. I'll give you the rest of the time lapse in a few seconds because you could see this, and just stay tuned. We're coming. I'll tease it more and more, but merch is coming. All the characters that you know and love. I'm so excited. I've been working so hard, doing 2 videos a week, getting the merch ready. Life is good. Hope you're staying safe with quarantine. I got on a hat that's not a beanie. It's a wonderful day. See you in the next video.